Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Param Param Ishvaro Guratmeti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyomabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sava Vedanta Sedanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatoshmaham Om Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste. Welcome to our Drink Drsya Viveka Q&A satsang. Oh, I'm trying to resurrect the Q&A satsangs of the old days. But I mean, we're in a class where people have no questions and no answers anymore. So we don't need to venture on that. So having said so, Claudio, do you have any questions? You are our official questioner nowadays, huh? Okie dokie. We have seen the page 38 when Swami P or Swami G begins a kind of recap, yeah? A summary of the verse 18. The verse 18 says, the verse 17 says the Jivahut, which is a sense of limitation and finitude of the individual Jiva, appears in the consciousness also due to this superimposition. But when the veiling power of Avarana is destroyed, the difference becomes clear. And that notion that I am limited and finite goes away. Similarly, the verse 18, similarly, the veiling power covers the distinction of the creation and reality, and due to its influence, reality appears as if it's undergoing change and modification. So the verse 18 talks, verse 17 refers to the problem of the sense of limitation and finitude, which is inherent on the human experience, a human condition, because of the identification with the body-mind complex. And then the Jiva feels subjectively, he feels finite, and then only knowledge will remove this veiling, this ignorance, and then this notion of limitation, which is inherent to the body and to the mind, goes away to that individual, okay, interacting through a body-mind complex. And then the 18 says that the same way the veiling power covers the distinction, the outer distinction between Brahman and the world. We see the world and we don't see Brahman. We don't even see Shwara, the intelligence that holds the world. Most people do not even see God, let alone the essential nature, the Svarupa of God, okay, the true nature of God. So we don't see the Father, we don't see the Holy Spirit, we just see matter and energy in the Christian language. And then in the recap here, we saw that Swami P once again presented us with a different kind of perspective or example that it's always worth our time. He says that Vikshepa Shakti is beautiful and useful because it projects the world. And in the world, it projects our body-mind. And then our body-mind sees and experiences the world. if we wouldn't have this body mind, we will continue to exist, but will exist as Shakti Chaitanya. If we do not have the body mind, we will continue to exist. So if there would be no jivas, would be only inert objects, we would continue existing as Sat. I, Shakti Chaitanya, am not creation. Now I lost this passage. Help me out there. Vikshipa Shakti is beautiful. Vikshipa Shakti has the power to create, and Avarana has the power to conceal, as we know. Vikshipa Shakti is beautiful and useful because it is responsible for the creations of the world and our body minds. If we do not have the body and mind, we will continue to exist, but will exist as Sakshi Chaitanya, as consciousness, the original consciousness, the CO1, the CO3. The Sakshi Chaitanya, the Sakshi Chaitanya, I'm not created. I'm not a creation of Maya. So it's saying that without the body mind, although we exist, and what is the relevance about this statement is that we tend to be afraid of losing our body mind. You understand? We say, okay, now I want self-knowledge, but I want to hold on to my body mind because, I have the impression that if I lose my body mind, I lose my existence. And here it's saying that without the body mind, if we do not have the body mind, we will continue to exist, but as Sat, okay, the original seer, as consciousness, not as the Jivatma. Why? Because as Sat, as consciousness existence, okay, I'm not a creation of Maya, and I always remain uncreated. So our true nature is beyond time or beginning of this projection, of beginning, middle, and end of any creation or projection, okay? So our nature is beyond time. So I'm not a phenomenon that, of course, we see Maya and its powers. Maya Shakti has given me this body-mind complex, which is very useful to me. So why it is so useful? So anybody has a clue about why this body-mind is so useful?
Because without it, I can't interact with the world. I can't process my karma, and I can't advance spiritually.
Yeah. Okay. So Maya Shakti has given me this body-mind, which is very useful. So otherwise, the Shakti Chaitanya, will remain without any transaction, of course, and any possibility of knowing Aham Brahmasmi. Yeah? So the ultimate purpose of this body-mind complex is coming to the understand that I am the absolute seer, I am consciousness, I am the uncreated consciousness, okay? So I am there even without the presence of this body-mind agent, instrument of experience and knowledge. Even when I don't have this instrument, I still exist. How do I exist? I exist as Sat, okay? And Sat is the same thing as Chit, which is by nature limitless or Anand. Yeah? I cannot see the world, interact with the world, I cannot enjoy anything, and I cannot even claim that I am Sakshi. I cannot claim that I am consciousness, because this knowledge, Aham Brahmasmi, is only available for Jiva Atmas, not for consciousness. Consciousness is beyond this knowledge and ignorance. It's beyond self-knowledge, self-ignorance. Consciousness is from altogether a different order, which is not a dualistic, composed by all these infinite pairs of opposites. To claim that I am consciousness, I must have the body-mind complex. That's the gift of the Vikshipa. Yeah, Vikshipa. So, however, so there is always a however. However, Maya's second power, Avarana Shakti, makes me not able to differentiate between the real I consciousness and their real Maya created appendage, yeah, which is the body-mind complex. So we have this body-mind complex, yeah, which we often say it is reflected consciousness or human consciousness, and then human consciousness or reflect consciousness, due to the power of Avarana Shakti, has a hard time to understand its limitless nature, okay? So, and that is the however, okay? The price we pay to have this instrument of knowledge is that we need to begin from ignorance. Just imagine if Ishvara would project us with knowledge, what would be the purpose of creation? So it has, you want to come down and you want to taste, smell, and touch and feel and so on, having wonderful experience. Okay, so the price to pay is Avarana Shakti, is ignorance, self-ignorance, we mean. And then we go, and then slowly, we grow. Now we connect the dots and we start, perceiving that there are some things. There is something strange about going about living, for the sake of looking for fulfillment by consuming objects of experience. So only a mature individual comes to that certain insight, okay, that, oh, there is something wrong. I've been doing for 10, 20, 30, 50 years, and things are not getting better. And that is a process by which the individual is taken to Vedanta, to the Upanishads, to the scriptures. When I do not know the difference between the Vastavam, factual, and the Mayaham, material, Atma and Anatma, when I do not have they know the difference of the true self and the appearance self, the true Atma and the Anatma, between Drik, the absolute seer, and Drsya, that which is seen by the absolute seer, when I do not know the difference between Satya and Mithya, between the subject and the object, and then I take on the problems of Maya, upon the Vastava. So we have the nature of Brahman and the material nature of the universe. We have Brahman, Atma, the self, and Anatma. And when I do not understand this distinction, and I mix up Drik, Drsya, and Satya, and Mithya, and so on, I will take on the problems. All the problems that belongs to Mithya, to the material world, I take them and I assume that they are my problem. Okay, I take the self. I have a lot of problems. Okay, all the problems of the body-mind complex put together is called Jivatva, which is another name for samsara. So when we take the problems of the world, and the body-mind is part of the world, okay, in its substantial nature, energy and matter, it is what? Integral part of the world. When we take the problem which belong to Mithya, okay, and we take upon ourselves, okay, as Satya, and then we experience samsara, otherwise called Jivatva. The body's samsara is temporary, but the mind samsara continues across many births. So here Swami brings about another concept, which is like, understand that your mind does not die with the body, okay? And the body samsara, he presents, the body belongs to samsara and the mind belongs to samsara. Is the body-mind complex makes you an interacting agent, experiencing agent, but you have a samsara body and you have a mind, a samsara mind. And then say, don't worry about your samsara mind. It exists endlessly, almost eternally. So you are never going to go out of existence. You are just going to change bodies. Like from birth to birth, you get a new set of clothes, of something, so that you can manage, process your vasanas, your karma, and so on as a jiva. So it says the mind samsara, it continues through many births. That jivatvam, this samsara, is imposed, superimposed on me, consciousness, and I become a samsari. So this jivatvam is superimposed on me, this condition of samsara, of taking the unreal to be real, is superimposed on me. And even if the mind samsara, it will continue through many births, it does not help much if from one birth to another birth, I carry my ignorance with me over and over again, over and over again. It's almost as if we begin from the scratch, not having moved much, you understand? Because I process some of this ignorance, and then I go, and then there is some knowledge which was seated in my causal body, but yet I don't have access to that knowledge consciously. So I need to begin again, working, connecting the dots, and then with the help of some wisdom in my causal body, the process may get accelerated, okay? But it continues across. And samsara, the mind samsara, it continues. So we know that when we do this work, the same way the Karma Yoga never wastes any action when the action is pervaded, is permeated by this spirit of Karma Yoga, which is not about what I'm going to gain in the world or materially. It's just about how can I serve and which way I'm doing this action that is just making my relationship with myself and God stronger and clear. So I'm dedicated. So the same way that the Karma Yoga never wastes an action with that spirit, the individual soul never really wastes any bits and pieces of knowledge it collects here and there, It's somehow there. There is nothing that goes wasted, because seen from the journey of the soul, so many births go by, and every experience, every birth is an opportunity for gaining a little bit more knowledge, bit more knowledge. That sometimes we gain a little bit more ignorance and a little bit more ignorance, and then things become more difficult in the next birth, So we know we can go either way, up or down. But anything we do, we're gonna reap later on. So if there is some knowledge there, there's knowledge is there, nobody can cancel it. Ishvara is very fair in that sense. Okay. As we know, Avarana Shakti causes problems at the objective world level as well. All the objects, at the objective level, there is the changeless Brahman and the changing Mithya, the changing matter, the changing Namarupa. Mithya is just like these configurations that come through the three gunas and the elements. And then we have all these objects, everyone defined by its qualities and attributes, and then they are giving a name, okay? And they have a shape somehow. Some are even shapeless, okay? In the case of air, case of space, they are still configurations, but they are very subtle. But Namarupa, we say, generally speaking, it's name and forms, but there are a lot of subtle objects. And it is still objective world, because we know that space is an objective phenomenon, although it is without form. The changeless reality at the object level is pure conscious existence. And this at the subject level is pure consciousness. At the objective, the changeless Brahman appears as what? Sat, existence. That's what it is, okay? It's pure existence that is transferring or conceding existence to everything, all the trees, all the birds, and everything. Okay, so but the subject level is pure consciousness. The only reality is pure consciousness, the absolute Drik, and then it's never seen, but it's the seer of all other phenomenal objects, beginning with the intellect, mind, emotions, and sense organs, and so on. The changeless reality at what is continuously present at the object level is the isness or existence. When it is said, the clip is, the is Vastavam, is Brahman. So we never thought about that. Huh? So I should have a clip here. We never thought about that. This is Brahman. Yeah. This is Brahman. How so? Because it enjoys existence, and the existence, all existence comes from Brahman. So it is a configuration created by Maya Ishvara, but the source is Brahman, the existence is Brahman, the elements that bring about the metal to make this little clip also comes from Satchitananda, from Brahman. So we have Brahman appearing everywhere. But we have a hard time to acknowledge these simple facts in a moment to moment. Oh, thank you, Brahman. We should make this a new exercise. Oh, thank you, Brahman. Thank you, thank you. So here also the difference between Satyan and Antan is not known, okay? So the change of name and forms are transferred to the changeless Brahman. So we believe that if the world changes and then we can change, we can transfer that changing phenomenon to Brahman. When I say the world is changing, I'm connecting the adjective changing to both the world and the isness of Brahman. Yeah? When we say, oh, the changes, the world is changing big time and it's not getting any better. So the word we know that is what? It's Brahman. Everything here is Brahman. And we say the world is changing. So what we are doing, we are transferring the changeless Brahman, or the change word on the changeless Brahman. So, and then we believe that existence is changing. So existence is a very important word. In the Panchadas, we know that because when we say cosmos or universe and so on, and we are seeing things more objectively. And but when we say existence, we are talking about the very nature of the cosmos, the very nature of the universe. So this existence is never changing. So the use of the word non-existence is not correct, because non-existence is never possible, because existence is always present, as we know. The changeless, ever-present existence is there on the objective level, and most of the time overlooked or discounted. And we see matter, we see Namarupas, and we don't see Brahman as the isness of everything. At the subject level as well, we have problems of discriminating the self from the appearing self, from the reflected consciousness, from consciousness, Atma from Anatma. This confusion and the subject level, and the other confusion is on the object level. Both confusions. This twofold confusion is the cause of all the problems we experience as jivas. How does the samsara problem express itself at the practical level? So because of the mistake at the subjective level, I have concluded that I am insecure. So how samsara manifests itself, we know it very well. We can go over again. So it manifests because of the inner confusion, the subjective confusion. I take myself to be the intellect or the body mind. And then I feel that I am limited and insecure and so on. And all the samsara psychological problems that come with it. This is on the subjective level. I come to these wrong notions about myself, and I find myself to be limited, insecure, and so on. The sense of insecurity is the samsara. The sense of insecurity is the samsara that is experienced by everyone. The continuous insecurity that is experienced through one's life is the expression of what? Of total ignorance. Meaning to say atma anatima of Viveka. Most individuals, they are born suffering from samsara and they die suffering from samsara. Isn't it amazing? Most people in this planet, at least, or 8 billion or something, they are born and they die living through samsara, meaning to say a total aviveka or indiscrimination, inability to understand the difference between their true self and the apparent self, the limited self. The mistake expresses itself in another way in the expectations of security from the changing world. So first, I take myself to be the body mind, and then I go through my life without sorting out this confusion. I don't have enough discrimination or subtlety of discrimination. And then I say, okay, now I am the body mind, I change, okay? I have a date birth and a birth, I don't know, my English today is not flowing. And my death flow, and that day, shall we do it tomorrow? And my death certificate, my birth certificate and my death certificate, okay? So first we take ourselves to be the body mind and we feel limited and then we suffer from samsara. And then, of course, because I feel insecure and limited as the body mind, I'm gonna do what? Oh, I have to solve the problem, a limitation of this sense of limitation, insecurity, and inadequacy, and so on. And then I begin trying to gain my objects, or to chase objects, okay? Leaning on the objects to solve the problem of insecurity, okay? So it's a twofold problem. So first, inwards, internally, I feel like I am the body-mind complex and I am limited and insecure. And then I start, okay, so, and then it seems the game here is to find security. Okay, where am I going to find security? And it does not cross the mind of anybody that it's not out there. So everybody goes, ooh, security out there, boom. Yeah? And then we suffer against samsara because we are expecting security in something that will never deliver security. We don't seek security in the self, we seek security in the changing world. And then we're gonna suffer many disappointments, which leads to more and more samsara, suffering. Sense of insecurity is samsara. Reliance upon the unreliable samsara world is samsara 2. So he talks about samsara 1, which is subjective, okay? This feeling sense that we have our limitation, and then depend on, because just the feeling of limitation causes already suffering, or one feels like, oh my God, I don't feel like feeling upset. And then when I try to resolve the problem, and then I just have frustration, and then that brings even more psychological suffering, okay? Frustration and so on. So we have these two levels, sense of security, the subjective, personal feeling, I am small, insecure, incomplete, okay? It gives me already a bad feeling about myself, and I'm not a happy person with those notions, those erroneous notions about myself. And then when I start grabbing things or associate with things, in samsara to reestablish my sense of security. And then I'm gonna suffer big time of the samsara, with attachment and dependence, irritation, anger, depression, jealous, and the long list of psychological negative feelings. Okay, this will go on and on. The only remedy is either I should know that I am never insecure, or if that's not known, I should never rely upon the changing world and the people, but rely upon something that is Brahman, or better said, at that level, Ishvara. So become a religious person and try to rely on Ishvara. Okay. So on one level, I feel I'm insecure and small, and then I try to work it out. And if you can't really resolve that within yourself subjectively, so at least know if you are really not clear of the fact that you have this sense of limitation, insecurity within yourself, well, at least you should never get yourself attached to people, place, things as a means to resolve this unconscious sense of limitation, insecurity. But we should rather do what? Associate with Ishvara, and then in due time with Brahman, okay? So to rely on the scriptures, to become a Karma Yogi or Yoni Yogi, and try to solve this problem at the roots of the very problem. The author says that the solution is discrimination, which is explained in this following verse 19. Verse 19, in this case, also by the destruction of the veil, the distinction of reality and creation becomes clear. Okay. So the same way you do the Atma-Natma Viveka, between your limitless consciousness and the body-mind, the same way you need to do this discrimination between reality and the world, and creation, presented as creation. So we have the world, we have reality, that which is the isness of the world. So we need to do this discrimination outside and inside. Outside the world, the manifestation of Namarupas, and the essential nature as the isness, the existence of everything, which is Brahman. So in my inner work is my conscious limitless existence and the mind, okay, associated to a body which is in a constant flow of modification. So this is the discrimination that has to be done on both levels. That's why Karma Yoga is such an important tool or path or sadhana or way of life to prepare us to this subtle inner discrimination, because we start interacting with the world, not seeing the world as matter, okay? We see the world as Ishvara. We see the world as this pure intelligence, supreme intelligence, manifest and, and sustained by this incredible intelligence and laws and knowledge. And then you see the beauty of it, and then you start conforming or aligning your life, your actions, your desires. You start behaving in harmony with these cosmic laws of the Lord Ishvara. So we start seeing Ishvara out there rather than just matter. And then from there, it's much easier step to begin seeing Brahman. The isness of everything is Brahman, Satchitananda. So how to destroy this confusion, this veil, is to discriminate reality from the world, from the creation. And this is going to become clear once we destroy this Avarana. All the modifications exist in the world, in the creation, never in Brahman, the reality. No? So it's a continuation of the same analysis. The problem is not with the Vikshipa Shakti again. Vikshipa, we welcome it because it gave us the body mind. The problem is Avarana Shakti. Okay. Jiva Mukta is one who has removed the Avarana Shakti, but allows the Vikshipa Shakti to continue as long as the Parabodham is present. Body mind continuing is not the problem. Avarana is the problem. Avarana is ignorance. So this is a nice statement, nice phrase here, because one cannot put an end to one's life. Okay, so the body mind is going to continue its parabodha, yeah? And it's never a problem for a yani, okay, because you just know. So it's not, there is no problem with the world itself, and this was given by God, and I have been doing my best with this instrument of knowledge experience. And now that I have self-knowledge, so I go about enjoying the ending or the exhaustion of my Parabodha Karma without any problem. So, but Avarana.
Arlindo.
Oi.
I want to ask you, but Avarana Shakti and Vikshipa Shakti, we read one time that it is not the same thing as Tamas and Rajas, right?
Yeah.
Or
So,
they are so similar. So why
yes,
they make a difference between Tamas and Rajas and these two?
This is an excellent question. Okay, on the macro level, Vikshipa, okay, projects the world. Okay, so in the mind of Ishvara, Vikshipa and Avarana, okay, is going to project the world, and at the same time it's going to grossify the energies to densify and make this world, at least this density in which we live, make it it's solid enough so that we can transact. This is in the macro level. So in the micro level, so this Vikshipa, it manifests itself as rajas, the energies that sustains our body, and the energy that sustains our mind as well, our pranas, and tamas as well. So the Jiva Atma experience Vikshipa and Avarana as Rajoguna and Tamoguna. So when we say that Avarana is a problem for the Jiva Atma, is because it manifests as Tamoguna, okay? And Tamoguna is this Avarana not only makes the world physical, okay? Because there is more Tamoguna in the mixture, in a way that is the elements go grossifying until we have this world. But in the process, what happens to the Jiva? The Jivas are also integral parts of this creation. The Jiva needs a lot of tamas as well. Our body needs tamas as well to grossify the energies and so on. And even the subtle body, which is much dominated by Sattva Guna, still has Tamaguna, because nothing stands as a Namarupa, as a configuration without the three energies. We need the three energies in everything. Okay, so and then we have the Jiva Atma that even in their subtle body suffer from Avarana Shakti. Or what is this Avarana Shakti? It manifests as what we call Tamaguna, and the Tamaguna makes it difficult for us to have knowledge, to understand things, to observe even phenomenal world and extract knowledge. So this is from the point view of the Jiva Atma. Okay. So Avarana is ignorance. Avarana is ignorance from the standpoint of what? Of the Jiva Atma, of course. Only the Jiva is subject to knowledge and ignorance. Okay. So Avarana manifests itself as ignorance in the mind of the Jiva. So Parabhada is present in the Yoni, and Vikshipa will continue as long. But Avarana was neutralized to a certain extent, I would say, because this Avarana that produced the condition, a certain proportion of tamoguna in the mind of the Jiva. In the case of the Yoni, tamoguna is there as well. You probably heard sometimes James say, "Oh, I'm tamasic today." Okay, it does not mean that Yoni does not experience tamasic mental states. Okay, but the thing is, the Yoni has developed enough sattva. And then not only sattva, but spiritual introspecting or contemplating vasana, spiritual vasana, that allows he or she get this knowledge. And then once we get this knowledge, we say knowledge is always good. Okay, so you learn to bike, and then you never forget. You learn 2 + 2 = 4, you never forget. You learn that your name is Claudio, you never forget. So likewise, you learn that you are consciousness, not the intellect, and then you never forget. But that does not prevent the Yoni to have moments of excess of tamoguna. It's all a question of proportion, you understand? So this body-mind complex is a flux of modification. Let's take the example of today. I don't know why my mind is behaving like that, but it's breaking my thought process. Okay, I'm trying to follow the scripture and unfold, and it keeps breaking. So why? It's all Ishvara, you understand? But this does not define whether one is Yoni or not Yoni. Yoni is the one who knows. Okay, why he knows? Because he or she developed enough sattva and a contemplative mind, and then did the inquiry and went through, and then got the knowledge. And this knowledge is always there, regardless of the mind to be suffering from Avarana Shakti or Vikshipa Shakti, meaning to say Rajaguna, excess of Rajaguna, or excess of Tamoguna. Okay, so the Yoni, when it's sick, it becomes very tamasic, but the self-knowledge does not get destroyed by Tamoguna, because self-knowledge to know that you are beyond the 3 gunas. Huh? Yes, Lynn? Your mic is closed. Are you trying to say something?
Okie doke. My question has to do with the previous question about the difference between Gunas and Shakti. And I want you to tell me if my understanding is anywhere near the squirrel understanding, that it's been described to us that Maya is unmanifest Namarupa. And I think of Rajas, Tamas, Sattva as capacities in that unmanifest Namarupa, and then as the Shaktis as the first little budding of manifestation from the unmanifest Maya.
Yeah.
Is that possibly correct?
Yes.
Or can you clear it up?
Yeah. So those energies, they basically, they are the beginning of the universe begins with these energies, you know. It's Maya's Shakti, you know, Avarana and Vikshipa. And then there is also Sattva there. Yeah? And then they manifest as Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. by which Ishvara creates, is created and creates Jiva and Jagata. So what is the difference between Shakti and, what was your contemplation? Shakti and the three gunas. See, the three gunas, that's what you mean,
Well,
huh?
Your audio again, Lynn. Your audio.
right, sorry. I thought of Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva as capacities within mind, Shaktis as the first kind of manifestation, and when you think about gunas as qualities in the manifestation.
Yeah, it's a good understanding.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Yeah, yeah. Did you guys follow? Yeah, Avarana in Vikshepa, we say that the most fundamental primordial energies that are going to, when we look at the macro level, is Vikshepa projects, and Avarana is another power then densifies and this projection, you understand, to make it structured in a way as the creation. Creation is a structure phenomenon, the universe. So we have these two energies. So these are the primordial energies, and then out of that the three gunas develops, and then the gunas, they are often said to be energies because it's about energy, but we can see it as qualities, okay? Because we experience them in our minds as the qualities of clarity of mind and you know, and discrimination and assertion and perception, you know, precision and so on. And then we have the quality of rajas, which is projecting and empowering the individual to have desires and chasing the desires. So we have this energy of rajas, and then we have those tama energies that it can be seen, it should be seen as a quality as well. So at least as a quality to have a good night of sleep. So we all require these three qualities, you know. Yeah, I think it's very nicely put. Yeah. Okay. Body mind continue is not a problem for the yoni. Avarana is not a problem for the yoni, because even if the yoni, Avarana makes the yoni tamasic, the yoni has already solved the problem, the most fundamental, the real problem to be resolved is this discrimination between my free nature and my limited nature, you know. And then, so once it's done, Avarana is no longer a problem for the yoni, but for the most of the individuals, nobody has a problem with energy, you know, that projects and makes my life running and so on. But some people have a problem with excess of tamoguna, and the seekers, the spiritual seekers or seekers of moksha have a lot of problem with tamoguna, because they understood that without sattvic predomination of sattvic in their mind, this self-inquiry becomes very difficult. The knowledge is Atma Anatma Viveka, which requires scripture as a means of knowledge. Every knowledge requires a means of knowledge, as we know, and self-knowledge requires this scripture pramana in the form of Shravana and Manana with the help of a guru. It's interesting that here he did not mention Nididhyasana. So you're going to discriminate by doing Shravana and Manana. And then later on with Nididhyasana, you can do even without the help of a guru. In fact, without the help of a guru, and only without the help of a guru, we can do our homework. You understand? Nididhyasana. discipline, vigilance, and again, you know, making this knowledge firm, alive, present, okay, or change or converting this knowledge, which is clear here, into emotional self-knowledge in another language, which is often presented by Swami Paramarthananda, emotional self-knowledge. In order to do the Shravan and Manana, we need a help of a teacher. To do the Shravan and Manana effectively, one needs to have the qualifications as well. So we know that we need to have discrimination, dispassion, and a strong desire. Desire is very important, as we know. So if we don't have an intense desire for it, very often we quit because it may take some time and some work. So qualifications are also necessary. This process removes the ignorance, and I know that I am the Sakshi and not the body-mind. Okay, Sakshi is consciousness, okay? It's not energy. So those two words, they look similar, Shakti and Sakshi. So when I remove my ignorance, and then I know that I am Brahman, I am consciousness and not the body-mind. I'm not the intellect, not the mind. This sorting out of the confusion has to be done in both levels, my inner and outer, you know, within myself, sorting out consciousness, my true nature from the mind, from the intellect, you know, and out as well, seeing Brahman, seeing Ishvara, seeing Brahman rather than just seeing matter, okay? So seeing the inness, the isness of matter, of the material world as Brahman, as the ultimate reality, which is my own reality, which is my own nature. Okay. With regard to the objective creation, also, one has to destroy the ignorance. Yeah. With regard to the objective creation, also, one has to destroy the ignorance regarding the difference between the world and Brahman. Our mind is experiencing both Brahman and the world, but we do not know which one is which. That's very nice, huh? We experience the world every day, and we from Vedanta, we Vedantins, we know that we experience Brahman's existence as the world. But a lot of the time we miss, and we feel like, oh no, it's just matter. So we always experience both the world and Brahman. But sometimes we forget it. To illustrate this, the example of the experience of the hand is considered. So this is a Vedantic analogy. So we look to our hand and we somehow discount the fact that we experiencing light as well. Without light, the hand cannot be experienced, but we somehow we discount the light. So likewise, we experience in the world. We experience the world, and the world is there because existence and consciousness projected with the power of Maya and illumines and reveals so that we can see and know the world. So the light that illumines my hand, you know, is one thing. And the light that illumines and reveals the world is Brahman. So this light spreads all over my hands and makes the hand known to me. But I only focus on the world. I don't focus on Brahman. I only focus on my hand. I don't focus on the light. I take it for granted, as we say. But for the light, I will not even be able to see. But without the light, I would say there is a mistake there. Right? But without the light, I will not even be able to see the hand. But yet I fail to distinctly see the light. If someone were to ask what I see, I will say my hand. While I'm seeing the light, and I fail to recognize it. I mean, Vedanta can be put in this paragraph there, yeah? Can be condensed to that. It's such an incredible thing. If someone asks you, what are you seeing? Oh, I'm seeing the hand. I don't see the light, but I am experiencing the light, but somehow I fail to recognize it. So we see the world by which pramana, by which means. There are many pramanas. Yes, I see through the sense, the instruments of knowledge, organs of knowledge, and then by the mind, by the intellect, but ultimately we know the world due to the blessings of Brahman. So the ultimate pramana, means of knowledge, is consciousness. So we see the world by the means of consciousness, pramana. So I'm seeing the world and I'm experiencing this light that illumines and reveals, but somehow I don't recognize this light of consciousness. So it's the most simple thing. We don't need to go in so many Upanishads if we just keep contemplating on this very fact, I am experiencing consciousness and existence as the pramana by which I see Brahman manifest as matter, as the world. We experience it all along. Similarly, we experience Brahman all along, with the world all the time. Isn't it simple, Claudio? I think we don't have much of any doubts about that. It's just a question of doing our nididhyasana. Inner and outer, in and outer. No, okay. I am this consciousness. I illumine the world. I reveal and illumine, and then I see the world, and I see my nature as consciousness illumining and revealing the world. That's why I like to present this inquiry also on the experiential level, because once you get a feel to it, you get a hang to it, and then you know that every experience is there, is there with the light revealing that experience, light of consciousness in me. Okay, let's finish this paragraph. And then he says that Shankaracharya refers to this in the Dakshinamurti Stotra. But then I see here there is only Sanskrit. Does anybody know this?
I have it.
Oh, beautiful.
I have a translation. It says, whose reality appears as the unreal creation, who imparts immediate knowledge through the Vedic saying that thou art, to those who seek his refuge, who upon enlightenment beholds the universe directly as his own non-dual self. Salutations unto him, Sri Dakshinamurti, in the form of my own guru.
Beautiful.
Alindo Ji.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Can I ask you a favor to send it to us in our WhatsApp group?
Sure.
Yeah. Very, very nice. And then we can unfold it a little bit nicely, better, more in details in our next class. I hope that my English is going to come back, because I don't know. And I did not drink any alcohol. I did not drink ayahuasca. I did not smoke anything. And I didn't even drink coffee this morning. I mean, I had 2 oranges. No, I went outside, took 2 oranges. I don't know if that, I'm going to avoid orange next time. Okay. Okay, let's stop here. And then we begin by this Dakshinamurti Stotra, the Shankaracharya. Make a sign here. Okay, my friends, thank you. Thank you for your appreciation, love, support. Thank you for your guys' help as well. I appreciate those of you donating whenever you can. Okay, I mean, we do this, I mean, even without donations, as we know, but it's a nice touch of expression of gratitude. But I don't want any of you to do more than you can really offer, okay? Because more important than this is your true appreciation, you know, and the way these teachings help you to hold your self-knowledge and make it, you know, more and more firm. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, my dear friends. Namaste. Goodbye. Arrivederci. We meet again next Monday. Yeah, Monday. It's amazing how the weeks, they go fast, huh? Okie dokie. Many blessings. Thank you.